Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So you've already seen the look that we're going to be creating today. I'm going to go over a little bit of skin prep before makeup, and today I'm working with the amazing brand called Herbal Essentials. Now what I love about this company is that they do high performance skincare that's affordable, it's cruelty free, and it's powered by Himalayan spring water. So when I got out of the shower this morning, I washed my face with the Herbal Essentials Purifying Fresh Face Wash. It removes all the impurities from the skin. It has a beautiful cooling gel formula. And what's great about this for my skin type is that it helps control sebum. Sebum production is what causes you to have oily skin, and as you know, I am oily. So what I love about this facial wash is that it helps control the sebum production. A lovely kind of natural scent to it. Next I want to visibly plump the under eye, and I'm going to use the Herbal Essentials Rescue Revive Eye Masks. These have a 99% natural origin content. They contain vitamin B5 to visibly plump and smooth the under eye. You can see how fluid these are, which is great because it means we're going to get a lot of moisture underneath our eyes. Usually with eye masks, they're quite thick and rubbery and a little bit uncomfortable. You find that when you're looking downwards, they kind of obscure your vision a little bit. These are so thin. I don't know if you can see, they're like made from a really lightweight fabric. You can leave them for the full 10 to 15 minutes and they're not going to be uncomfortable. So these have chamomile extract in, which calm and condition your skin. And as you can see, when you lay it down, it just adheres to the skin just from the moisture, and they are so comfortable and pretty much invisible. These are also infused with arnica, which is really good for helping to diminish the appearance of dark circles under the eyes. You can also take the excess moisture that's in here and massage it over the skin. So I've had these on for 20 minutes, but it does say 10 to 15 minutes. It's absolutely fine. And the skin under my eyes feels so hydrated. And as you can see, it's still beautifully moist. So it's really lovely to kind of work in and around your eyes. Next I'm going in with this firming eye gel, and this has sodium hyaluronate and aloe vera. So this again comes in a gel form. It's packed with hyaluronic acid, honey and aloe vera. I really like to hydrate under there, especially this time of year. Under this part here, especially where I've got a tiny bit of pigmentation coming out, this area can look super dry, especially when I'm wearing a foundation or a concealer. From day to day, I don't tend to wear something heavy on my skin, but when I am doing tutorials and I want to wear something that's a little bit more full on, it's important for me to make sure this area is super hydrated. Now, as I said, these are formulated with mineral-rich Himalayan spring water, which contains a high level of essential macro minerals, which visibly supports skin cell turnover, which we really want on the face. I have two moisturisers to show you. We have the Get Up and Go moisturiser, which is a lightweight moisturiser, and then if you need something a little bit more rich, a little bit more illuminating, there's the brightening cream. Today I'm going to go with the Get Up and Go cream. It is the daytime. I tend to use something a little bit more hydrating at night. In the mornings, it's really important for me to have something that's rapid absorption and isn't too heavy. I tend to use my Bare Minerals original powder foundation, so if I've got anything too heavy on my skin, I have to wait for it to absorb before I can go in with that. So this is lovely because it really does go in super quick. So this contains wheat germ oil, shea butter and omega-6. So it's a great one for all skin types, which I know many of you will ask me about. This part of my face feels so soft. Look at it, it's like super bouncy. Here where I've applied it, at the top it's shiny, but here it's just got that beautiful sheen where it's really absorbed and it's no longer tacky, which I love. I think the smell comes from the sweet almond oil, which is so beautiful. This one has also been approved by the Vegan Society. It all feels so silky and smooth, and I just love that kind of bouncy plumping effect it gives to the skin. And these are high in essential minerals such as calcium, magnesium and potassium. So they're all really good for skin renewal and cell turnover and just plumping. It's affordable, the fact that it has so many natural ingredients in it, and the fact that it's cruelty free. So if you haven't heard of Herbal Essentials, I'm going to list them below for you. I should also mention that if you buy a deluxe cleanser and a deluxe moisturiser, the brand are going to give you a free face sheet mask and an eye revive mask, and that includes free shipping in the UK. Today's foundation is the IT Cosmetics Your Skin But Better Colour Correcting CC Cream. This is SPF 50 and this is the supersized version that you can get on QVC at the moment. It's bloody huge. This is the original size. You can see how much more you get. The original is 32ml and the supersize at the minute is 75ml. The shade I'm going to use today is light medium. I'm going to use that on a duo fibre brush. This colour will give me a teeny weeny bit of colour, but it's a pretty good match for me this time of year. I love the smell of this, it smells really citrusy, and if you're somebody who's never tried this and you don't know much about it, it really is so good. It's really lightweight, it's very luxurious. You can sheer it right down, you can use your fingers so it's almost like a tinted moisturiser, but it has colour correcting properties in it. So if you suffer with redness, if you are blemish prone and you need some coverage but you don't like it to look mask-like, this is a great foundation. It's also really buildable. You just layer it in the areas that you need more coverage. Most of the time it's kind of this area of the face. This area, if it looks really flawless, the whole skin looks flawless and you don't need to worry about additional coverage around the edges unless you've got kind of like hormonal acne and you need to conceal those areas. If the foundation alone isn't enough for you, you can spot conceal, so you can just go in, rather than having a full face of full coverage makeup, you can just go in and spot conceal the areas that need it. I like to go in and press over that with my fingers just to get rid of any little brush stroke marks. You can also do this with a sponge, but I like to use my fingers because it doesn't absorb any of the product, so it all stays on my face and the warmth from my fingers helps to melt the product in. To add a little bit more coverage under the eyes, I'm going in with this new product by Bare Minerals. This is the original liquid mineral concealer. So like the original foundation, this is the liquid concealer, and they're also doing a liquid version of the original powder foundation. So I'm very excited to try that. This is the new concealer. I actually have two shades of this. The original one they sent me was too dark, and I have a feeling this is also going to be darker. This is the new original concealer, and this is the Bare Skin Complete Serum Concealer, which I really love. This shade is light to neutral, and this one is medium. So in terms of colour, I feel like this comes in quite dark compared to the Bare Skin. This one is light, and this one is light too. So whether light one is more like the original light, I'm not sure because I don't have it. Just bear in mind that the concealer does seem to come in quite dark. I'm going to pop a little bit of this just here. I really wanted to give it a go and I wanted you guys to see what it was like. We'll use it for coverage rather than for brightening. So what makes this concealer different to other concealers is that it's using a lot less ingredients than your standard concealer. And as you know, Bare Minerals always formulate everything with a clean ingredient list. So it's formulated without silicones, no parabens, no talc. It's just really, really clean. Ultra creamy, a medium kind of coverage that's buildable and makes for a good under eye concealer. I tried the darker shade the other day, even though it wasn't to my skin tone, and it was really lovely under the eyes. It didn't make my eyes look crepey, it didn't sit in the fine lines, and it wore really well all day. It's not drying at all. So I really like this one. I think it's going to be a good concealer for all age groups. In terms of how it is against the Bare Skin Complete Coverage Serum Concealer, this one is more fluid and it's not as high coverage as the original liquid one. So if you want something that's a little bit fuller coverage than the Bare Skin, go for this. Put a tiny bit more just here. We're getting a bit more of a full coverage appearance to the skin in terms of it's masking the freckles, but the skin still looks so natural, which I really like. So I'm going to use a translucent powder today. I'm going to use this by Danessa Myricks. This is the Evolution powder. This comes in a couple of shades, but I've bought the 01, which is translucent. What tempted me to try this was because you can use it with a damp beauty blender as well as a dry one. So if you just want to powder on like I'm going to do today with a dry brush, you can do, but you can also use it damp. And for those of you wondering what the purpose of that is, it's just that if you use a damp sponge and press it into the skin, you don't get a powdery finish to the skin. Instead, it just looks more mattified but still perfect. So I'm going to use a brush just to mattify the skin a little bit. That will stop that foundation from creasing. I'm going to move on to the eye makeup and then come back and finish the skin. To add some warmth to the eyes, I'm going to use my Bare Minerals Endless Summer Bronzer in the shade Faux Tan. This is one I'm going to be using on the skin, so it's a great way to tie the eyes into the rest of the skin once the face is finished. I'm buffing this into the socket line and winging it out ever so slightly, and I'm doing this with the help of my fluffy blending brush. Today I'm going to be using the Kat Von D Edge of Reality palette, and the first shade I'm going to be using is Dimensions, and on a small detailer brush I'm buffing this on to the brow bone, and it's really important to buff this in. You want this to have a soft diffused finish to the highlight rather than a chunky frosted finish. Also place this on the inner corner of the eye for a pop of highlight. The next shade I'm going to use is called Green Screen, and this is one of my favourite colours in the palette. It's not the most conventional shade, but it really is beautiful. This is a golden green flip, and I would really encourage you to give it a go, even though it might not necessarily be something you would ordinarily reach for. That's going on the inner half of the mobile lid, and on the outer half we're taking this shade called 4D, and this almost gives a bit of a bronzy feel, but it is a pink blue flip and is much more wearable than you might first anticipate. So I've worked that on the outer half of the eye using my ring finger for both colours. And down the centre where they meet, I'm going to take a little bit more of Dimensions, which is that champagne shade, and on a small brush I'm just popping that down the centre for an added highlight, but it's also going to subtly blend the scene between the two shades. Next we're taking my favourite eyeliner. This is the Bobbi Brown Long Wear Gel Eyeliner in the shade Sepia Ink, but also Espresso Ink is equally beautiful. And on a short stubby eyeliner brush, I'm buffing that along the root of the eyelashes. I've taken off the excess product off the brush because although we want the colour to be on there, we don't want it to be super intense. So once you've initially laid down that liner, dust off the excess product onto the back of your hand and then use almost that dry brush to buff over the top. So you can create the shape, but you get a nice diffused finish. The wing is completely optional. I would advise applying the eyeliner or a dark brown eyeshadow to this area because we are going to be applying some falsies. You want to subtly disguise the line of the eyelash band. Taking that 4D eyeshadow, I'm running that underneath the lower eyelash line, making sure to connect that with the outer corner of the wing. And I'm buffing that all the way across, but we are going to be taking a small amount of the Dimensions colour, which is that champagne, and pulling that up from the inner corner to meet the green screen colour. It's these final touches that really make the whole look cohesive and well blended. I'm taking a small amount of that green screen colour under the lower eyelashes between the champagne shade and the 4D colour. Going back to my Bobbi Brown gel eyeliner in the brown shade, I'm taking that along my lower waterline, and I'm also making sure I connect that on the inner corner of the eye to the top lid so it's a nice frame around the entire eye. And you can see why I love this colour because it's so opaque. Going back to my palette, I'm taking this matte brown shade in the colour Simulate, which is a warm brown, and on a clean blending brush I'm buffing this on the outer corner of the socket line and buffing it through, and this doesn't need to be intense. Then I'm going in with these beautiful lashes by Kiss. These are from the Luxe Extensions collection, and this pair are called Royal Silk. So many brands now are producing lashes that resemble the same shape and dimension of lash extensions. I will put my eyelash tutorial on screen for you now if you struggle to apply them. I'm just going to pop some mascara on my lower eyelashes and move back onto the face. Around the perimeter of my face, I'm going to use the Huda Beauty Tantour. This is in the shade Medium. This one they don't sell as an individual, but I do sometimes try and find the set. So if you are still looking for this specific brush, you can buy it in the set, but if not, you can just get very similar brushes. So tap all the excess onto the back of your hand because it is quite an intense payoff. The colour's really, really deep, so you only kind of want a wash of colour on the brush. And I'm not going to take this too far down. I want to lift the face and add a bit of warmth to the skin as well as sculpting it. You can see that when you tap off that excess product, you just get a nice amount on the skin to add exactly what you need. And because we've applied it in the hollow and up, we don't need to go in with baking powder down here to get that really crisp finish to the contour. It's not a realistic finish. It doesn't look that great. So you can see when you look straight on that it kind of lifts the face and it adds the right amount of structure without looking over the top, and it does warm up the skin. Doing the same around the hairline. Again, it adds the warmth and it also just tapers in the forehead to give a more oval appearance to the face, as that is the ideal face shape. Obviously not everybody has an oval face shape, so sometimes you can add contour to create a more oval finish. If you find when you apply it comes out too intense, just go back in with your foundation brush. And a duo fibre is great for this because you're not applying a dense amount of bristles to the skin, you're only applying half the amount, and you can get a nice feathered appearance to the area that you're softening. So we've got a nice dewy appearance to the skin, and that's a great finish to the skin to have. It looks healthy, it doesn't look tired and dry, but it isn't super shiny. On the cheeks, I'm going to apply this Coral Cloud Bounce and Blur blush by Bare Minerals. I love these because they're like a bouncy condensed mousse. It's similar to a cream, but it's kind of not. If you've used it, you'll know what I mean. So this is going on the back half of the cheek, on top of where we've applied the contour colour, but a little bit higher as well. I like to use a stipple motion when I'm applying this. You just get a really nice payoff. You're not kind of disturbing your base makeup, and it just makes it sort of like uniformed with the skin. On the lips, I'm going to apply this Anastasia Beverly Hills lip gloss in the shade Estella, which kind of resembles the darker tone that we put on the outer half of the lid. It's kind of shot through with a gold and it gives it a bit of a flip. So I thought this would be nice because it pairs in with the eye makeup. Obviously you don't have to have a lip that kind of gives a bit of a reflective finish like the eye, because for you it might feel a little bit over the top. I quite like it. I'm not a colourful lip wearer, so for me I kind of like a little bit of a gloss, and the reflective finish just for me kind of ties in with the eye makeup. But you feel free to do whatever you want. I definitely wouldn't advise going for like a highlighter with this. You get a dewy finish from the Bounce and Blur as well as the finish that we've got to the foundation. But I feel like with that reflective 4D finish to the eyeshadow and that kind of reflective finish to the lips, it would be too much to have a highlighter as well, but it doesn't mean you can't. So I hope you enjoyed today's makeup tutorial. Don't forget to check out the Herbal Essentials skincare down in the description bar, and also don't forget to take advantage of the offer which I'm putting on screen for you now. Everything I've used will be listed and linked in the description bar. If you've got any comments or suggestions, leave them in the comment section and I'll do my best to get back to you. Don't forget to follow me outside of YouTube on my social handles, which will be on screen for you now, and I will see you next week. Bye!